Racism is an evil in our society, a total evil. And to falsely accuse somebody of any kind of racism is a major dishonest and dishonourable thing to do. I was brought up an anti-racist. I've been an anti-racist all my life. I will die an anti-racist. And when I discovered there were a small number of cases where people were using anti-Semitic abuse and anti-Semitic tropes against people, I was appalled and said we have to have a process for dealing with this, as with any other racism within the party. There's no hierarchy of racism. There is racism. Express itself in different forms, but it's still racism. And so I then asked Shami Chakravarti to mount an inquiry into this, which she did. And she wrote, I think, a very useful and interesting report, which wanted disciplinary measures, but also wanted education measures within the party, so that people could realise what was an anti-Semitic trope, what was abusive of people. And she wrote that report at my request, but I didn't write it, she wrote it. It was her report. I never saw it until the day it was produced. I didn't get to read it in advance to discuss its contents with her. That was her report. And that's important because I also wanted to develop a process where the leadership was separate from any disciplinary process within the party. Because I discovered on becoming leader that any disciplinary action was actually subject to the nod or refusal of the leader's office. And I said, well, this is absurd. I cannot possibly know every individual case around the whole country where somebody either deserves or doesn't disciplinary action being taken against them because of their behaviour. So there has to be a proper process of independence, a bit like the independence of political process from a legal process. And so I insisted on that. It took a bit longer to get fully in place than I expected, but we did get that in place, and that's the whole principle behind it. And so when the EHRC report came out, I made a statement about it, which was, first of all, I accepted and welcomed the EHRC report. I accepted and welcomed the need for rule change to implement the EHRC report. And thirdly, I said that there had been cases where the degree of anti-Semitism had been exaggerated for political purposes, and they were not true of the whole nature of the the whole nature of the Labour Party, and the numbers of cases involved was actually very small. Why did I say that? Because I didn't want the public out there to think that the whole Labour Party was riddled with racists and anti-Semites. It's not. 99.9% of Labour members are decent, good people who do not believe in any form of racism or hierarchy of racism. I think they must be supported and defended.